Not every haunting is just whispers in the dark. Not every ghost is content to linger in the shadows. Some legends speak of spirits that attack, that torment, that curse entire families, spirits that seem determined to destroy. And in the quiet hills of Tennessee, more than 200 years ago, one such spirit made its presence known. This was no ordinary ghost story. This was the legend of the Bell Witch, a haunting so violent, so relentless, and so terrifying that it became America's most infamous supernatural tale. The story begins with the Bell family, farmers who settled in Robertson County in the early 1800s. At first, their lives were simple, peaceful, but soon strange disturbances began to shake their home. Knocking on walls, chains dragging across the floor, beds shaking violently in the night, voices whispering from the shadows. Then it grew worse. The entity didn't just haunt the Bells, it spoke to them, laughed at them, mocked them. It pinched, slapped, and beat the children. It tormented the father, John Bell, relentlessly, swearing it would end his life. And in 1820, it did. John Bell died under mysterious circumstances, and the witch, or whatever force it was, took credit. What made the Bell Witch so terrifying wasn't just the violence. It was the fact that dozens, even hundreds of people claimed to witness it. Neighbors, church members, even future U.S. President Andrew Jackson all reportedly experienced its wrath. This wasn't just one family's nightmare. It was a curse that echoed across the region, passed down from generation to generation. To this day, the legend endures. The cave near the Bell property is said to be alive with strange voices and shadows. Locals still warn against speaking ill of the witch, fearful that her spirit listens and punishes. But what really happened in Tennessee all those years ago? Was the Bell family truly tormented by a supernatural force, or was it something else entirely? Hysteria, trickery, or a story that grew darker with each retelling? Tonight, we'll dive deep into the curse, the history, and the chilling encounters that made the Bell Witch the most terrifying haunting in American folklore. This is the Curse of the Bell Witch, America's most terrifying haunting. In the early 1800s, John Bell and his family settled on a farm in Robertson County, Tennessee. Life was good, fertile soil, a strong community, and a simple frontier life. But soon, strange noises disrupted their peace. At first, it was faint scratching on the walls, like claws dragging across wood. Then came knocks, steady, deliberate raps that echoed through the night. The family searched but found nothing. Then the disturbances grew bolder. Chains clanked across the floor, stones thudded against the walls. Beds shook violently, as if unseen hands were trying to hurl the family out of their sleep. It wasn't just noises. Soon whispers filled the dark, voices that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Low, mocking laughter, snatches of conversation. The family began to realize they weren't just dealing with sounds. Something inhuman was in their home. The entity revealed itself in a way no ghost had before. It spoke, at first faint murmurs, then loud and clear words. It called itself a witch, cursed the family, and mocked them by name. It didn't stop at words. It lashed out physically. Children were pinched, slapped, even beaten by invisible hands. Betsy Bell, the youngest daughter, suffered the worst. She was scratched, her hair pulled, and sometimes left bruised and battered by unseen blows. The witch seemed to thrive on fear. The louder the family prayed, the more it laughed. The more they pleaded, the stronger its attacks became. Neighbors heard the screams. Some came to witness and left terrified, swearing they too had felt the witch's presence. The entity developed a particular hatred for John Bell, the family patriarch. It tormented him relentlessly, cursing him, vowing that it would kill him. John grew weak over time. His health declined mysteriously. He suffered convulsions, strange fits, and periods of unconsciousness. On December 20th, 1820, he died suddenly. By his bedside was a vial of strange liquid no one had ever seen before. The witch's voice was heard in the house that night, celebrating. "I gave old Jack Bell a big dose of that last night, which fixed him," cackled. John Bell's death was ruled mysterious, but the family believed what the witch declared. She had poisoned him. It was the only known case in American history where a supernatural entity was accused of causing a man's death. The legend of the bell, which spread far beyond Robertson County. Soon, people traveled great distances to see the haunted farm for themselves. One of the most famous visitors was none other than General Andrew Jackson, the man who would later become the 7th President of the United States. Jackson and his men came to investigate. As they approached, their wagon suddenly stopped. The horses refused to move, no matter how hard they tried. Then, a voice rang out, the witch's voice, laughing and declaring she would meet them that night, according to some accounts. Jackson's men were slapped, shoved, and even knocked to the ground by invisible forces. Jackson himself was said to have admitted, "I'd rather face the entire British Army than spend another night with the Bell Witch." By morning, his group left Robertson County. The witch had proven her power once again. Though John Bell was gone, the witch lingered. It tormented the family for years before finally declaring it would leave, but it promised to return. And according to local stories, it did generations later, haunting the descendants of the Bell family. The legend became so powerful that it seeped into American folklore. Locals avoided the land where the Bell farm once stood. The nearby cave, now called the Bell Witch Cave, became the heart of the legend. Visitors there report strange voices, shadowy figures, and even the sound of a woman's laughter echoing through the dark passages. Some say if you mock the witch inside the cave, you'll be scratched, shoved, or cursed. To this day, the Bell Witch Cave remains a paranormal hotspot, drawing investigators, thrill seekers, and those who simply want to test the legend. What makes the Bell Witch story so enduring? Perhaps it is because it was more than just one family's haunting. Hundreds of witnesses claimed to hear or see the entity. Its ability to speak, to interact, even to kill, set it apart from any other legend. Skeptics argue it was a hoax, that the Bells, or perhaps Betsy herself, invented the story. Others claim it was hysteria, a product of fear and superstition. But believers insist the Bell Witch was real, and her curse lingers even today. Maybe that is why the story refuses to die, because it isn't just about a haunting, it is about the possibility that something beyond our understanding can step into our world, speak our language, and destroy our lives. The Bell Witch is more than just a story. It is a reminder that some legends refuse to fade, no matter how much time passes. What began as faint scratching on the walls of a Tennessee farmhouse became a tale of voices in the night, violent attacks, and a family torn apart. John Bell's death was blamed on an invisible hand. Betsy Bell was tormented into fear and despair, and the witch's laughter, mocking, cruel, triumphant, became etched into American folklore. Skeptics will say it was superstition, that the Bells exaggerated, that neighbors fueled hysteria, or that Betsy herself may have been the source of the chaos. But if it was all just a story, why did so many others hear the voice? Why did Andrew Jackson's men flee in terror? Why do visitors still leave the Bell Witch Cave today with scratches on their skin, voices on their recordings, and fear in their eyes? Maybe the truth is this: some places carry darkness. Some stories are born of pain, fear, and belief so strong that it becomes real. And once that door is opened, it cannot always be closed. The Bell Witch has endured for more than 2 centuries because it embodies our deepest fears, that evil is not always human, and that it can reach into our lives uninvited. It laughs at our prayers, It feeds on our fear. It lingers even after death. So now the question is yours. What do you believe? Was the Bell Witch a clever trick, a tale told too many times until it became legend? Or was it truly a force beyond our understanding? A spirit with the power to speak, to torment, and to kill? One thing is certain. If you visit Robertson County, if you step into the Bell Witch Cave, you'll feel it. The silence pressing in. The cold touch of the unseen. The sense that something is listening, watching, waiting. And perhaps you'll remember the warning locals. Still whisper today. Never mock the witch, because she may still be there. If this story sent a shiver down your spine, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell. We explore America's darkest legends, mysteries, and hauntings, and the Bell Witch is just the beginning. This has been The Curse of the Bell Witch, America's most terrifying haunting. Until next time, remember, some curses never die, and some voices never stop speaking.